Your boy Ox the Light. Uh, Check me out.
Peace. Can you hear me, brother?
Peace, peace. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Peace, God. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Hey, thank you. Thank you for being on and welcome to the Willie Bobo Show. Tonight,
Heck yeah,
everybody,
man.
I have my man Kevin Prince. Of course, as everybody knows, this is Mr. Composition, one of San Antonio's best, as far as I'm concerned, MCs, real MCs, spitting true music, awesome lyrics. So we're going to dive into a few things with him. We're going to talk about what his inspirations have been, his artistic style, which is absolutely gorgeous, a lot of the things that he implies, and his performances with a lot of famous artists, man. So my man has actually done some good work. So, Mr. Composition, tell us all about yourself, man.
Peace, peace. Thank you for having me. Oh
Of
man,
course.
it's a blessing. Man, I'm Mr. Composition, the MC that writes fiction. I am a hip hop artist, creator, author from San Antonio, Texas. I It's very interesting. I basically see myself as like a creator, and seeing some of your videos and meeting you in person, that word creator takes on a different meaning than what, the people think is content creator and creator in different things. And so, I look at myself as a creator because I like building worlds and universes. Things that I do isn't from I look at the way like Marvel and DC and like all these places have universes, these properties that people, are able to be different people, and but they can be different people and they are different people. And so it's like this whole web of things that goes on. And so, I create, that's my main thing, is creating, interacting with people. I'm younger than a lot of the artists that I usually am around because I soak in that knowledge. I look at so much that they had did and so much that's available to us now, and just bridging that gap. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
That's beautiful, man. And I like the way that you kind of correlated things toward Marvel Universe, right? Because one thing I do like to ask all of my guests is, can you tell us who's the different person in between Mr. Prince and Mr. Composition?
Yeah, there's a whole wide before, growing up, and we hear these things as far as like, you're this one person, but that one person has these different personalities. I dive into a lot between the astrological and zodiacs and different things like that. So when you look at the archetype of like the Gemini, and this, different personalities and different things like that. But there's a brother, Ra Ku. He's a big astrologer, and he talks about how so often we like to categorize ourselves as, I was born under this time, I'm this. And he's like, no, you're every zodiac sign, and different personalities, different traits you're going to go through. He compares it to like a clock. From 12 to 12, all the way through, you have the 12 signs, but in between there, just like a clock, you have the minute hand, you have the second hand. And so pretty much throughout the day, you go through this astrological clock of every sign, pretty much, so in the beginning of the day, you may be feeling scorpionic, the way that you interact with people or different things like that. And then as you go through the day, you feel passionate, like Sagittarius energy, going forth the journey, different things like that, maybe commuting to work, different things like that. And then the Capricorn energy, that business minded, that structure, different things like that. So all throughout the day, you go through these personalities. So it's hard to pinpoint and say you're this when you go through every day, just like the moon goes through its, waning periods and its different sides. We do the same thing emotionally, physically, spiritually, all throughout the day.
That makes total logical sense, in every aspect of it, because time is really irrelevant when we think about it, right? and everything having an existential universal order, the mathematics is of course going to be correct based upon science. So of course this is the reason why we have these correlations to Orion from the pyramids being built all over the world. And we go on to series 7 with the people from Mali being able to connect with that. And this is all astrological, man. I love the way you broke that down. Love the way you broke that. So, what was your first introduction, to the wonderful world of astrology as it correlates to your hip hop?
So it's very interesting because I was listening to one of your recent interviews and you mentioned DJ Premier. And so there's the song Nas is like, and he's all like through the sun, the tarot cards, you can see the Nas, so that in general and just our culture in general, I grew up watching, movies like Eve's Bayou, a lot of stuff that had us in this mystical type of way, but sometimes it always be evil until like I looked up the research and looked up, the different type of udon and the different orishas and all different types of things. And so I started to realize that the same way that media would depict as far as us as a culture or a color in general to mean a specific thing. So white meaning pure, black meaning evil, or different things like that. I realized that there's a duality with everything. So they may talk about the black evil side of things, but they don't mention the black good side. They won't mention as far as the things that are white that appear to be pure but are actually evil. And so I always look at those particular things and balance them out. And so when it comes to like uh astrology and looking up those things, there was always glimpses and hints. I was always drawn to star-like stories, whether it be Star Wars, whether it was as far as like Event Horizon or just a lot of things that had to deal with planets. My dad was really big. He was from New York and he would just like put me onto like all this stuff at a young age. Like I was in elementary school just taking on books about our history, books about astrology, everything. My parents and them got me a telescope. I think what a big part of it was just the science aspect of hip hop that drew me into hip hop. And so a lot of people don't think about, hip hop as being science. So they may be like, what's the science or different things like that and talk about, in regards to the 5% Nation or different things like that. But me, I look at someone like a Jizza or I look at people from the Wu-Tang that was able to put science in a way that I was all like, oh, okay, like I see the lab coat. I see as far as the experimentation. I see where this science was applied to as far as hip hop, but in a legit space way. There's the Parliament of Funkadelics, they was all into this, space, Cyrock, all into this space, the universe. You had mentioned as far as the people from Mali, the Dogons, everything like that, like all into freaking this space aspect of things. There was the movie The Arrival. And I was hearing someone break it down, and they was saying how that was basically how the Dogons said that the aliens were, and that it wasn't this, they came from the sky and then went back into the sky. They came from the sky and went into the water type of thing, and so yeah, it gets crazy.
But it's kind of like this one thing I read, right? And it said that the deeper they dig, the blacker history becomes.
Yeah.
So you think about the removal of the Book of Enoch, right? Okay, certain things about Solomon aren't there. You know,
Book of
uh,
Jasper,
I mean, come on, man, it goes on, right? Because the Council of Nicaea really, really separated things the way that they wanted it to.
Yeah.
And so I think that I'll presume that your dad's influence, being a New Yorker, dropping all of those gems on you, also helped to build up that incredible vocabulary when it comes down to the lyrics that you write. because I remember seeing you the first time at an event that Peace to the God and Peace be upon him, uh, that Tony and X showed us, what was going on over at the reggae bar. And so, you know, Royal Minus is my man, what I'm saying, all day long. And I was so happy he let me be a part of that show. So the thing is, I'm sitting back, I'm chilling, I'm vibing, everybody's doing their thing. And you step up. And it was like unsuspecting, you know. I'm just here, man. I'm just here to do my thing, check me out. Bing bong. And it was like, yo, because I told everybody I was with, I was like, that guy, he was the nicest one here. I was
I
like, this,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
no doubt, no question, man, no gas, man. Seriously, I was just like, man, this dude's lyrics were pure, they were untainted, right? He was strictly underground hip hop. It wasn't built with the crossover, he just gave it to me. I really appreciated listening, to your music, man. So, who have been your influences that took you to this elevation that you're currently at?
Well, number one is the
I
piece
see
to
the
the
mighty
God in the
most
back.
behind you. I see the mighty most behind you. Like, yo,
Yep.
yeah, sure did. Yeah, man.
Definitely. Black Thought for
Okay.
sure. If you listen to my song, I'm big on words. I'm big on wordplay, but not just wordplay, but just conscious wordplay. Being able to drop certain things like, I like the way Black Thought, especially on something like the Stream of Thought Volume 1, where he had the Dos Equis track with the Rhapsody on there. And it's funny because a lot of people, they will see that name and be like, who? But like, I'm a person that looks up like German philosophers, German thinkers, people, and like just to get a wide range of as far as these people and these different thoughts. And so Black Thought is one of those people that when it comes to being able to convey emotions in a lyrical way, like one of my favorite songs from them is Complexity with Jill Scott. That is like a masterclass. It was a love song, but it was three verses. The art of the three verses is like damn near lost nowadays. And it didn't feel like three verses, it was this whole thing. So Black Thought for sure. Nas, uh, it was interesting. I relate so much to Nas in the sense of when he came in the game, he was very young. Before Live in the Barbecue, everything like that. He was very, very young and he was wise above, his years, even at that particular age. And so I think that I always related with that aspect and the way that he can deliver vivid storytelling. And I think that he doesn't get enough credit for how versatile he is in the type of tracks that he decides to do or the projects he's, with. Because he can do something like Distant Relatives, which I feel like is super slept on, but then he can do stuff as far as with The Firm. He can do stuff, randomly do something with Kanye West. Even though I wish that album was something like, Still Dreaming, Kanye and Nas, but it's
Right.
okay.
It's okay.
you
It's
know.
okay.
But yeah, definitely Nas. So Most Def, Black Thought, Nas, Elzhi from Slum Village. I don't think he gets enough credit for how ridiculously dope he is. A lot of people like to credit Eminem, and Eminem's dope at everything, but from the D, man, there's like Royce and Elzhi, like
Speak
them
on it,
them
God.
were
Speak on it. Yeah, speak on it.
uh, and then it would have to be as far as like all around artists and who I relate to as a creator, Kanye West. So those would be like my top five artists that shape me and then my music in general.
Indeed. So how old were you when you wrote your first rhyme?
Man, I was probably around 7. No, no, no. I was definitely in elementary school. It was like third or fourth grade. And I remember being in the fifth grade, and it was crazy because I was very aware of the dynamics of social people and popular kids and different things like that. And so it was funny because I always knew hip hop was this way to um kind of even the playing field. Like it's just like, oh yeah, you're popular, but I know how to rap. So it was
Right,
like
right.
me going against the popular kid in rap, and we were both super corny at the time. Like I remember, I think my rhyme was all like, "Oh, my name is Kevin. I live in heaven. I'm a tight wall. I even have a mighty wallet." Like it was so, but it was like emulation of a lot of the stuff because at that point my dad would have a lot of cassette tapes, and even though he's from New York, he had things like Cash Money, the 504 Boys, audio books, Lauren Hill, Miseducation of Lauren Hill, which she's another artist as well. And so that I just took on that. And so it was just my way of emulation, but very quick, I realized like it just wasn't me to rap for the sake of rapping. I had to rap about things that I felt or what I observed that's going on or how it's affecting people. So before I got out of high school, I had transitioned into that particular type of writing songs and then building from that ever since.
Understood. So when were you first able to do a show?
The first show was in high school as a talent show. It was me and my homeboy Complex Mentality. And I was in the 11th grade. And I remember I was rapping on the 50 Cent I Get Money beat. And it was funny because, as you said, like I'm very unassuming. So, a lot of people just in school, they knew me for like being, silly and rapping and everything like that, but not on that. Like they may have heard little things on MySpace, things like that, but seeing me perform, and to me sometimes I think we don't realize how things translate as far as in performancing. Like I'm real big in like quantum realms and different things like that, and so when you look at like a particle, they had this test where they would shoot like these particles, and when they would capture it, it would turn from like a particle to a wave. And so I think in performancing, that kind of happens, to me, where it's just all like I go on stage as a particle, but when I perform, I turn into a wave, thus allowing me to be able to reach in a way that when I go back to particle, I don't realize. It's like it's almost like a handicap that you're not even supposed to even
Right.
but yeah.
I understand that. It's kind of like, in my opinion, the difference between a rapper and an MC, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, the master of ceremonies is going to be able to project that wave, right? We're going to utilize these people here as protons because we're going to be firing all of these neutrons at them. And once that's all culminated together, bang, we built this massive atom, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to go supernova and let that explode all over the place. Now look at what we got. We got a
Yeah.
party. You know what I mean? So I'm with you, man. I'm with you. So we're gonna get into a few of the people that you've opened up. Now, I think this is a pretty impressive list myself. It's
Yeah.
no worries. So look, I mean, we're dealing with a few years later, but regardless, I mean, at that time, let's talk about the fact of the matter. Yeah, you performed in San Antonio, you performed in San Marcos, Austin. You've opened up for well-known artists such as Dead Prez.
Yeah.
Damn, like Dead Prez.
Dead Friends. That was such a dope show. And it's interesting because I came after the pedicab era, San Antonio. So I came at the half shell era, basically. And so that's '09, 2010. And so that was like my first time even going to hip hop shows in general and just knowing that there's a local scene. And so networking with people, different things like that. It was me connected with my homie Spy, and I think Mark Hernandez then was throwing the show as well, and opened it up for Dead Prez. That was like one of my. It was it was around that time that I started opening up for people who I had either heard their songs or I actively listened to them. So like at the time I was listening to Merce like heavy, got to open up for Merce. I was listening to Devin the Dude, got to listen to Devin the Dude. A lot of Wu-Tang got to open up for Master Killer. You know, a lot of Blue and XL. I got to open up for him. These were just people that, you know, to a lot of other people, it may not, you know, hit something, but to me, it allows for me to just see things in a way that, oh, we're way more connected than I think. Even when I got to open up for oh man, freaking slipping my mind. It'll come back to me. But it was Aguilar. Aguilar. And it was interesting because going back to my father, going back to as far as how hip hop, you know, kind of got me, how I got here. Grand Theft Auto 3 had dropped, and I was in the fifth grade. And my dad, we go to GameStop, and this is when GameStop would have like a demo of the games there. Hadn't heard of freaking Grand Theft Auto. I shouldn't have because, you know, little kid. But we get there, me and my pops are sitting up there, and he's like playing it. He gets this bat and like hits a person, and they like 360 in the air. We're like both look at each other, and we're like, oh, we're getting this game. And so get the game. And so there's the track, you know, rising to the top, everything like that. So I'm just all like, oh man. And I just remember hearing Aguilar, all these super dope hip hop acts on this radio station in his car. And so when I got to open up for him years later, I told him that story. I'm just all like, yo, you don't know how trippy this is for me, you know, like
I can dig it, man. That's incredible. Incredible. Let's go into some of the music dynamics, right? Now, while I was looking through your catalog, bumping it, seeing if I could find those nitpicky things. Does he keep it steady this way? Does he have a pattern that I can pick out, right? And I like the fact that I couldn't find one. Couldn't find a pattern. Now, there was no pattern. Okay, every MC is going to have a pattern of rhyme. Right? That's just a part of it, right? But the thing is, you didn't necessarily have a pattern of subject delivery. So it was like you kept it interesting. With your style of hip hop, the hip hop that you listen to, what kind of pushback have you come to witness from locals who aren't familiar with those types of lyrics? You know, like, has it been really tough, or have you found people that have been curious and wanted to acclimate to that, or wanted to bring you in on some special projects?
I've definitely had the people to bring me in. I think that it's sometimes it's a mixed bag that I've been able to witness. Like it's one of those things that I've learned to that when I'm performing versus a lot of other people, they're listening, you know, so that initial like, you know, how y'all feeling? Y'all rocking with that initial like, oh yeah, when I don't hear that initially, I know it's not because they don't feel it. It's because it's registering because everyone else had gave them this like stuff. And when I'm giving them something to actually like they're like yeah definitely, but like what did he say, you know? So I think that I've gotten used to that. And but it's one of those things that when people see me, especially locally, it's like one of those like, how is he doing this, you know, like how is he going to Japan, how is he dropping books, how is he even doing this? And that's just for me, I try to show people what's possible because I don't look at myself better or lesser than anybody, but I can show you what you're capable of doing. You know, I'm the guy of San Antonio, Texas, you know, who just has a dream. And I think that because I still follow a dream, and so often, especially as you get older, you could just see it just slowly slip away for people to the point that, you know, I can just look and recognize, and I'm just like, dang, they let that thing, and it's not even dead, but they're just allowing it to just die, basically, you know. And so locally, I just it's one of those things that they've been real receptive, and I kind of purposely and sometimes accidentally get into events where I am the odd one out, and I kind of just embrace that. I was just like, there was a line in my song 6 a.m. in Las Vegas where I started off with the black sheep of the black sheeps, because I'm just all like, even within the unique quote unquote abstract people, I could still feel not necessarily isolation because it really depends on me and what I'm doing. So if I'm in real big creative mode, then I'll go into isolation, But if I'm into the social mode, like people would be like, oh, it's a different person. Back to what we were saying before, as far as the different personalities, it's just all like depending on what is needed from me, I'm gonna project that. And a lot of times, what I pull out from people is something that they're just like, okay, I need to get to work. Like I'm seeing him do this. I need to go ahead and get to work. So that's a lot of what I see. It's usually always love. I think that I don't try to I literally stay in my lane. I am in so many other type of places and directions that I couldn't even want to even be associated with certain things like drama or different things like that. I'm just like, yo, I'm making a comic book, like what are y'all like? Like I'm good over
I mean,
here.
if you're not
Like,
out there, you can't get in there, right? So
yeah,
keeping your head down and making sure you keep firing and walking. Love it. Tame Chaos,
yeah.
Earthship. I love these two.
Oh man, thank you. That means a
Uh,
lot because those are the only two projects that I self-produce.
really,
Yeah.
that must have been the thing about it. It was a different type of production that I heard, right? I think there was a different type of emotion that I heard versus other ones. I would also like to say big up to my man because Mr. Composition makes sure that a lot of his album covers comes from a lot of local artists. That's something that a lot of people don't do. We go out there and find a third party associate to be able to build us something. We don't know these people, but they give us a good product. Meanwhile, right here under our noses are great people that make wonderful albums. So was is this a part of the scene that you hang out in, or were these individuals that you just kind of came across? Hey, look, I need an album cover, man. What can you do for me? How did you meet these people?
What's interesting is how much of the intersection hip hop and like art is, whether it be graffiti or actual art in general. So when I'm in these different uh places, whether vending myself, and I realized that that's not a lot of things that MCs are doing. They're not out vending their CDs or having products on top of the CDs, and that was something that I was really big on. And so yeah, a lot of the artists were local, and I pretty much just met them at local art events or hip hop events. So Nick Stoop, local legend here, he's one of the people that would be at a lot of hip hop shows. Mike Composure, he did this as well as the inside cover for Graffiti the Mind as far as the CD cover. And yeah, I just meet these people, and there'll be something that I see. Like I'll almost have a vision prior, and then it would be like I'll see their art and I'm just like that's the art that I was thinking about, and so
Um,
yeah, it happens divinely.
Beautiful. So, where can we find you social media wise?
So YouTube right now is my big thing. I'm growing that. I'm finally monetized. And so, building up on that. So that's at Daptro Creations TV. And then my music YouTube is Mr. Composition Music on YouTube. And then mrcomposition.bandcamp.com. I have 11, 12 albums on there for y'all to just go ahead
Love
and
it.
go through.
Love
And
it.
then Daptro.com is the website. So that's going to be my personal website. I constantly like building on it as far as like added things. It's like under construction, but most of the stuff is still there, like my comics, my books, You're able to see my music is there as well. And yeah, those are the main ones to get me.
When's the next project coming out?
So the next project is going to be basically a book. It's going to be a combination. So I'm big into hemp, CBD, and different things like that. And so I wanted to develop a kind of smoke and listen project experience. So, you would get these pre-rolls, and when you open, because you can't get it without being able to open it, you would get this QR code to scan to where it'll be an exclusive album strictly, within that smoking experience. So, yeah.
I like that. I like that a whole lot. Whole lot. Okay. I like that a whole lot. You feel me? No doubt. So, my man, I really appreciate you being on the Willie Bobo Show, brother. I know that you and I have been trying to do this for a minute now. All good things come together eventually, man. Hopefully, you and I will be able to get together and make something happen ourselves. I would love to be able to be on a joint with you. Sincerely, my man.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
Indeed, indeed. So, everybody, this is my man's. Listen to what he's talking about, everybody, because it's going to be something different, but yet at the same time, it's going to remind you of what the essence of hip hop is supposed to be, what an MC is supposed to be, what music is supposed to bring to your ear, the enlightenment, the existential reach toward universal differences, bringing everything together, man. It's beautiful. Mr. Composition. Again, thank you for being on the Willie Bobo Show. Make sure that when you go to his website, guys, you go to his YouTube page, which I actually have done that. Make sure you subscribe, shoot him a like. Same thing here. If you love the show, you want to be on it, make sure you touch base. Get with Mr. Composition. I'm telling you, he's going to make your head nod because your neck nose is damn sure fat. Peace.
Peace.
Do or die. Your shit is pure garbage. Our shit is mad fly. We'll fucking eat you up. So you did and you died. Piss on your tombstone. Here lies the lesser known. See through you while you choke. Your style is compost. Your speech got halitosis. We through the cosmos. I got this planet Earth. I'm smoking good earth. Got my reality. Yo, I got 3 words.